John Hare with Freedom Pharma. And I just got back from a conference. It's called the Florida Summit on COVID. As a matter of fact, it's the 4th year they've had it. And the doctors that were at this conference who are doing the talks, and it was a one-day deal, and it goes, you know, probably really from 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. And it's, you know, speech after speech by doctors who at the time when COVID came around and all the mandates and such, really sort of reacted against. They actually had, you know, they thought, you know, the way they should think about how things work. Anyway, I went down. I actually went to the conference last year. This year was the 4th year, so it was on, I think, the 19th of October anyway. And so I went to it, and it was great. It was, you know, 15 or 20, you know, different doctors making speeches. Not necessarily all doctors. As a matter of fact, there was a dentist from Canada, and her pitch was on the dangers of different things that were, you know, sticking into our mouth for dentistry, which was amalgams and fluoride. Anyway, so I like that whole sort of thing that they're talking about. The other, they're promoting alternative thoughts as to the way we should be looking at. And originally, it started off with COVID. I ran into one of the main speakers down there, and there's a guy by the name of Dr. Robert Malone, and, you know, very intelligent guy. As a matter of fact, he was one of the guys that was on the patent for the mRNA vaccines. And surprising enough, when they came out with the mRNA vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, he actually was against it, even though he was part of the guy, you know, the team that developed them to begin with, and his name is on the patents. But he obviously, you know, recognized that there were maybe some potential bad things about it, and so he, you know, spoke his mind and was censored big time for it at the time. Anyway, he's since written a couple of books, and what he was sort of promoting during his speech at this conference the other day, it was, you know, the psyops, you know, psychological operations against the population brought out by whoever wants an agenda or a narrative to be listened to. Anyway, good guy, very smart, you know, and you know, a fun guy. As a matter of fact, he was down there. Where the conference was. It was at the World Equestrian Center, WEC, and which was really too close to the World Economic, you know, Forum, which is another thing altogether that scares the crap out of people. But anyway, he was down there, and he came down with his wife, and they brought 3 horses with them because they were, you know, the World Equestrian Center is, you know, it's like Disney for horses, and it's in Ocala, Florida, and that's actually where they were having the meetings for this COVID meeting as well. Anyway, but he was there as well for the, you know, the horse thing, and anyway, on the last evening, or the evening dinner, he was involved in both the, you know, I think it was Portuguese horses of some sort, and he was also coming to the dinner that we had, and he finally showed up because he didn't have time between the two in, basically it was a bullfighter outfit. And it was kind of funny because there he was, and he sort of, it's almost like, I don't know if you remember Mrs. Doubtfire, the restaurant scene when she had to be changing back and forth from Mrs. Doubtfire to the father of the kids that she was taking care of, and had a couple of drinks and finally got completely mixed up as to which costume she was supposed to be wearing with which person she was sitting at dinner with. And it was kind of funny, but as a matter of fact, it was sort of like that when he walked in with his it looked like a conquistador outfit. It was like, oh, I'm in the wrong spot with the right outfit or otherwise. Anyway, I ended up talking to him on his own. Actually, the day before, I met him. I bumped into him by accident. A bunch of them were sitting in one of the hotel bars where they were all staying for this conference. Anyway, and so I went up to him, and I don't know him and didn't know him, and, you know, I knew of him for sure. And, you know, I engaged, I said, you know, told him what we were doing, and I went through the whole thing. And basically what that is we're trying to bring a drug to market. And I've learned a lot, you know, since trying to do that about the system itself. And I went on and told him the whole thing and all the problems we were having, and the fact that, you know, people don't really want a cure, which we have for C. difficile, which is a bacterial infection. And then I said we've switched over to a preventive, which I thought would be much more received because preventive means there's a whole lot more target audience because people aren't really sick with C. diff. You're trying to prevent them from getting it, and we can do that. That's another thing that would be part of our whole deal. Anyway, so I'm telling him my whole story, and it was to my mind, and he was listening, and and after about 15 minutes, he says, "You should buy my book." And I'm thinking, okay, so you didn't hear anything I was saying, basically. Anyway, obviously everybody has their own agenda, and he is promoting his book, and the book, by the way, I'm sure will be good because it's basically, the psychology of narratives in how to make people do things really through fear, which was really part of his whole thing was the COVID deal, and how people got on the bandwagon of being afraid of it to the point where they'll do whatever they have to do, wearing masks, staying, distance 6 feet from people, and, tell me to jump through a hoop and I'll do it if it's, keeps me from, I don't know what. Anyway, it was an interesting deal. The fact that, the conference was interesting, the meetings were good, but the funniest part was after I thought I'd really gotten through to Robert Malone, and a very smart guy and a great guy, he says his advice was for me to read his book or buy his book, which, yeah, I guess it would be good, but I don't think it's going to help me get my drug to market. Anyway, John Hare from Freedom Pharma, and one thing I haven't done in any of these videos is a lot of people who do these presentations or videos, they always have a sponsor. Well, we have our own sponsor. We have a product called Gut Fix. You can take a look right there. That's it. And so we don't need a sponsor. We are our own sponsor. What Gut Fix is oral dose antibodies. And basically, the treatment that I was telling Robert Malone about, that we're having trouble, getting through all the bureaucracy to get the trials done and all the rest, is a treatment. It's an oral dose antibody treatment for a bacterial infection called C. difficile. And in the meantime, we also have another antibody, and we call it Gut Fix, GUTFYX, which basically is just a way of, you take that antibody every day. It's a vaccine technology, if you think about it, because we're using a vaccine to start the whole process off. But it's a very safe oral dose daily treatment, if you want to call that. But if I say treatment, treatment for what? We can't make the claim because it's, we have to go through this, the bureaucratic, stuff to get a claim allowed, which is the FDA saying, you're now allowed to make that claim, So I'm going to tell you, Gut Fix is oral dose antibodies. One thing about it, as I'm 73, I don't take anything else but Gut Fix because I'm not on any other medications whatsoever. I've obviously had antibiotic treatments when I've had ear infections and such, but no blood pressure meds, no statins, no anything like that. And really, the other thing about it, where you get sick is basically in your gut. As a matter of fact, the old adage, all disease begins in the gut. Well, if you can fix your gut, basically you can fix your life. I can't make any claims, but I'll tell you, take it every day. I'm up to 8 years of taking it from the age of 65 to 73. I might have had 1 or 2 colds during that period. I've had no gastrointestinal issues whatsoever. I used to get heartburn once in a while, a couple times a month. Not even a hint of that. I had severe osteoarthritis in my shoulders and my knees. My range of motion was about that. No problem. I have no arthritis pain whatsoever. And we have all kinds of other people that have found similar benefits from getting that extra immunity. That's basically what you're doing. You have an immune system with 75% of that immune capacity right in your gut. Now, as you get older, or even have other things wrong with you, you're overweight, or you have other comorbidities, your immune system gets tapped out. And if 75% of your immune capacity is in your gut, if we're giving you oral dose antibodies every day, and by the way, that's what your immune system produces to keep you healthy, is antibodies. So now you're going to get a daily serving, I take it twice a day, of oral dose antibodies that obviously augment what you're already producing yourself. And so a lot of the things that you find yourself sort of falling off with, in other words, you're not eating as best as you should, you're maybe overweight, Gut Fix will help a lot in maintaining the balance of the bugs in your gut, and that's what you want. So anyway, I just thought we'll give you a little pitch on the Gut Fix itself. I rarely spend much time. I usually just say Gut Fix yourself, which is sort of a play on another couple of GF words, yourself. Anyway, John Hare, Freedom Pharma, Gut Fix yourself.